Good morning. We are now in Managing Cultural Diversity class. We are talking today about the theories of cultural diversity. This presentation was made by Katniss, Kaylee, Jenny, and me, George. For today, we've got the content of the presentation as an introduction. Hofstede theory, Schwartz theory. Both are we going to be talking about the evaluation, how are they made, and also how we can implement them in a workplace on a real-life experience. Also, we've got the comparison between Hofstede and Schwartz. Similarities and differences will be discussed in this topic. As a conclusion, we'll be finishing this presentation. In a globalized world nowadays, it's really important to understand the human efficiency so we can get better job places and we can also improve our management tools. As we can see before, Hofstede and Schwartz, there are new tools that we are implementing in order to keep our human resource organized and with it in better shape. Now it's gonna be my friend Katniss.
Hofstede cultural dimension theory is a framework for cross-cultural communication. Hofstede developed his original model as a result of using factor analysis to examine the result of a worldwide survey of employee value by International Business Machine Corporation in the 1960s and 1970s. The original theory proposed 4 dimensions along with which cultural values could be analyzed: individualism and collectivism, uncertain advance, power distance, and masculinity and femininity. Later, Hofstede and the Canadian psychologist Michael Haribon concentrated the independent research in Hong Kong and added a 5th dimension, long-term orientation. Then I will talk about the evaluation of Hofstede. The theory was one of the first that could be qualified and could be used to explain the observed difference between countries. Hofstede theory reflects can be used for a better understanding of cultural phenomenon for people to recognize and understand the culture of any countries. In cross-cultural communication, people often need to analyze and compare different cultural phenomena. Hofstede theory provides people a power to. Hofstede theory lays the foundation for international enterprise in cross-cultural management. When it comes to the usefulness in hospitality industry, the Hofstede theory influenced the leadership style in hospitality management. The biggest reason is that the impact on business leadership style is the individualism and collectivism and the power distance, and its impact on organization structure. For the enterprise organization structure, the biggest influence is uncertain avoidance, power distance, and it affects the level of incentive. The biggest factor influence the hospitality industry's incentive level is individualism and collectivism. Certain avoidance and the masculinity and femininity. And Jenny will talk about the next theory.
Thank you, Katniss. Schwartz model as a theory of value on which culture can be compared. It collected data from 67 countries during 1988 to 2000. It related the importance of 56 single values as guiding principles of my life. The response ranged from 7 of supreme importance to 1 opposed to my values. It includes 3 bipolar dimensions, which are embeddedness versus autonomy, egalitarianism versus hierarchy, harmony versus mastery. Schwartz model has more recent data, which makes the theory more accurate. Furthermore, this theory is further studied, but different from the Hofstede theory. It helps us have more understanding of the cultural difference. But Schwartz model is not all-sided. It only focuses on value perception, not widely used. So how can we implement Schwartz model into a multicultural company? We have 3 points. The first one is have the right management way to the corresponding cultural value. For example, if I have 2 staff, one is American and one is Japanese, I might work with the American in a more relaxing way, like friends. But when I face the Japanese, I know they have the subconsciousness of hierarchy. Even if I treat him like a friend, he might feel uncomfortable and stressed about it. Second one is we can know which value means more to different people from different culture, according to Schwartz, then communicate with or motivate them in a more efficient way. Besides, the country could choose the employees with the same value who share the same value with the one the company needs. So next we can have Kaylee to introduce the comparison between Schwartz and Hofstede theory.
Thank you, Jenny. Comparing the Hofstede and the Schwartz model, which our team members mentioned before, there are many similarities and differences between them. Well, let's have a look at the similarities. Firstly, Hofstede's power distance is similar to the Schwartz egalitarianism and hierarchy dimension, because they all refer to the authority orientation. And secondly, Hofstede's individualism and collectivism overlaps with the Schwartz autonomy and abandonness. Thirdly, Hofstede's masculinity and femininity and the Schwartz harmony and mastery are all associated with the relation to the social and the natural environment. And the classification of the cultural dimension are broadly divided on the terms of the habits and the geographical locations and adopt to the habits, etc. Both the Hofstede and the Schwartz attempt to identify the national cultural dimensions that could be used to compare cultures, and they found greater cultural differences between the countries than within the countries, suggesting the frameworks could be used to compare countries. About the differences, Hofstede classified cultures on the basis of the 5 main factors, and the Schwartz values are based on 3 dimensions. The Hofstede model have the empirically examined their frameworks using large-scale multi-country samples, but the Schwartz has relatively small examples. According to the Gerd Hofstede, culture is the collective programming of the mind of the distinguished that the members of one human group from of the others. Culture is the sense of a system of collectively held values. But Schwartz states that the individualism has a great state in the psychology of the cross-cultural same time. It has concealed the differences among the values which the associate among them. And David will introduce some conclusion about that. Thank you.
Thank you, Kaylee. As a conclusion, we've got Hofstede and Schwartz are really good tools to improve our business. So, by applying them, we can manage better our personal or the human resource of the company. The Hofstede is focused on the power distance and the uncertainty avoidance, individualism and collectivism, long-term orientation and masculinity and femininity. All of them are based on simple natural rules that are bipolar. So we can find as we have as big, we have as small, as we have as masculine, we have a femininity. So as Schwartz give more importance to value. We have here two graphics that we can understand that how the value that we give to people, it can help to improve our business. Now we have the references, and we are thanking for this presentation.